Okay, so this next one is kind of the opposite activity, opposite emotion activity. And I know you mentioned a lot of times there's a lot of work to even get them to identify what emotions are. But if you've done some of that, this might be a next step to get a piece of paper and just draw a line down the middle and just get them to write out some emotions they feel. Here's where it could be helpful. They could write positive and negative, and then they could identify which is which. So like if I wrote, sometimes I feel happy, sometimes I feel sad, scared, lonely. And I'm trying to do it in marker so that you can see it. I would have them maybe then identify which ones are good to them. And good's a hard word. I know it's a judge word, but which ones are positive emotions and which ones are not so positive to them. So sad, scary, and lonely, not so positive. So then on this side of the column, you would have them say, okay, so what's the opposite of sad to them? Because everybody might have a different interpretation of that. So for somebody, or just me, because I'm doing the video, the opposite of sad could be happy. So if I write happy over here, and then what's the opposite of scared? To me, that's feeling peace. And lonely, the opposite is feeling connected. So this is me doing it. Obviously, I know there's a cultural piece there too. Then I'm going to ask them, and this can be done in a group, and they can help each other brainstorm. Okay, so if I feel sad, but I want to do the opposite, and I want to replace it, what helps me feel more happy, happier? And have them think through actual things like spending time with my sister, taking a walk outside, having, a cool breeze outside. What makes them feel happier? And I'm trying to think of simple examples that are doable, because if someone gives you an example of, well, I feel happy when I have a lot of money, well, that might not be realistic. So you want to encourage them to have realistic ones. If I feel scared, but I want to feel more peace, what gives me peace? Is it reading scripture? Is it thinking about God? Is it having, the ability to talk to a friend? What is that? If I feel lonely and I want to feel more connected, how do I feel more of that? Do I try to spend more time with people? Because the thing about trauma is it isolates a lot of people. Is it being open and honest about what you're going through? Is it just sitting with someone and not having to talk? Like, what is that? So you just then, the emotions, the opposite, then you want to think through. Really how this started is, I think the lady I told you, Diane Langberg, she really started with this because she found so much trauma work needed beauty and joy, because what we do is so heavy. And so she came up with this exercise to help people identify the negative emotions, but what's the opposite, and then how do you get more of that? So a lot of times in trauma work, it's scary, it's heavy, it's dark. How do we feel light? How do we feel joy? And she would say, go outside and look at nature, things like that. So I hope that makes sense. And if not, please feel free to ask me any questions.